Okay, before we get started, just a quick introduction to myself. My name is Darren Shaw. Some of you might know me, and you also might not. I am a psychologist. I specialize in understanding behavioral modeling on multiple levels. And in a moment, very shortly, I'm going to dive deeply into what that is. But I think the best way to start is by telling you a story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy. Let's just call him Dave, shall we? And Dave, he was born into a world surrounded by poverty and real lack of resource. Nothing really going on there. His mother wasn't very skilled in many things to help Dave learn the necessary things to survive in life. And his father wasn't really there. And that poor little boy, Dave, was growing up learning only the skills necessary to exist in a poor, poverty stricken environment. Poor Dave. I hope nobody's crying. Now, as Dave grew up, he went to school and he tried college for a little bit, but didn't like it very much, so he didn't really care about it. So he quit that pretty early. And when Dave hit 16, Dave just thought, what skills do I have? I can count and I can read and I would do a bit of origami. I could be nice to people. So Dave got a job working in fast food. He was working in customer services in fast food, and that was all right. But Dave always thought to himself, man, I'd love to do so much more with my life. I wish I had more skills. But he didn't, so he couldn't. And Dave noticed that in the world there were all these people who had all these skills, and Dave thought, oh my, it would be so cool if I had these skills that other people had. So one day Dave just said, you know what? I'm determined to get the skills that I need, that I don't have. I'm not going to be a victim of circumstances. I'm not going to blame my mother for not teaching me the things that I needed to know, or blame my father, or blame my culture, or blame the government. No, I'm going to take charge of my life, figure out what it is I don't know, because right now I don't know what it is I don't know, and there are things that I want to know that I need to go and find out what those things are, and I'm going to figure it out somehow. And Dave went off into a brave new world, and he went on a journey. He went on a journey to figure out what behaviors are necessary to achieve certain skills that he didn't have yet. He went out on a search for role models, to search for people to learn from, taking charge of his life. Good old Dave. So Dave went out in the world and he found people that were great at things that he wanted to be great at. And he observed them. He asked people questions where he could. And he modeled what he needed to. He modeled other people's mindsets. He modeled the way that people spoke. He modeled the way that people behaved. That's right. Good old Dave. Anyway, moving swiftly on, behavioral modeling is basically the art and science of using a very specific approach that comes from the field of NLP. And there's other fields of this stuff as well, but keep life simple. And using this particular approach, you can learn from other people how their mindsets work, and you can learn rapidly and easily how to pick up the skills that other people have, so that you might be able to do these things yourself. Wouldn't it be cool if you met people who had skills that you wanted to, and you could just ask them a number of questions and be able to rapidly absorb what you needed to, so that you could walk away from knowing such people having these skills yourself? Wouldn't that be cool? So that's generally what behavioral modeling is. It's the It's the way that you model other people's behaviors and mindsets and all the necessary bits and pieces so that you can acquire certain skills yourself. So what is it? It's an approach to getting the skills that you need to succeed via asking questions and observing others who have the skills that you need. And it enables you to get access to the structure of success. Now, why do you need it? Why on earth would you need this? It's a shortcut to success. It enables you to overcome limitations. Limitations that you've learned to have, and limitations that you have because you never learned any other way of doing things. And also, your parents and your culture and your environment probably didn't have the skills for you to model, or if they didn't have the ability to teach you the necessary things so that you could go out into the wide world and do things. So this is a great way to catch up in life. That's right. I want you to think, what skills don't you have? What skills don't you have that you wish you did? What skills don't you have that you wish you did? You don't have to answer out loud. You can just answer this inside your mind. But what skills don't you have that you wish you did? Do you wish you had powerful skills around public speaking? Do you wish you were really great at doing sales? Do you wish you were much better at doing networking? Do you wish you were better at, I don't know, designing websites or doing graphic design or being, I don't know, being more positive and less shy or whatever in social environments? I don't know. What would you love to be better at? Think about the things that you're not so great at, and you know that because you're not so great at it, it limits you in life and it prevents you from having the things that you deserve and having the things that you need. And anyone who says, I don't know, slow down for a moment, take a deep breath and guess. What are you completely awful at? What have you learned to be quite crap at? Because again, when you learn things like neuro-linguistic programming and behavioral modeling and these sorts of things, it gives you the skills and abilities that you need to be able to step to people and ask poignant questions that get a little bit more information. See, I've personally used NLP modeling in the past to increase my confidence in doing graphic design, quit smoking cigarettes, create a six-figure business, or a couple of them, in less than a year, real quick, in the music world and in the personal development world and, crikey, in the digital downloady musicy world as well as the events music world. I used NLP modeling to get over a fear of being in the ocean, which is a weird one. I did that kind of backwards. I got over a fear of being in the ocean, and then I went jet skiing in the middle of the ocean. And it was while I was out there jet skiing and jumping over waves, I suddenly remembered I can't swim. Who does that? And then I thought, crikey, maybe I'm going to die. So I pulled out my mobile phone, recorded myself chatting loads of crazy stuff, and then I put it on YouTube. Like, who does that? But I used NLP modeling. That's not the point. I used NLP modeling to overcome these fears so that I could start to begin to move forward in the ways that were necessary in helping me progress in my own life, in my own way. So I hear some of you screaming, but how do I do this behavioral modeling stuff? How do I do this, Darren? Well, you've got to learn to be interrogative. What's that? Interrogative means that you are comfortable asking questions. Lots and lots of questions. How do you do that? For what reason do you do that? What's important about doing that? Is this how I do it? How do you do it? Could you say more about that thing that you just said? Being interrogative, like the cops when they're interrogating a suspect, except you're a little bit more friendly when you're interrogating the person that you're modeling. You model people by asking questions. There's no such thing as a bad or a wrong question. There's only questions that get you further or closer from your outcome of being able to do the thing that the other person can do. And when you're doing modeling, you're looking for the difference that makes the difference. You're looking for the information from whoever it is you're modeling that makes you say, oh, that's interesting. Never looked at things in that way before. Hmm. You're modeling people's strategies, states, beliefs, strategy type questions. If you're modeling somebody's internal mental strategies, you're asking questions like, what are your outcomes when you're doing this thing? How do you know that you're achieving them? What do you do to achieve them? And what do you do if that doesn't work? You're asking about them about their states. Think of a time when you used this skill. What was your mood or state? How do you know what state to be in? How do you change your state if it's not appropriate? Asking them questions about their beliefs. What makes this skill easier to do? Why is this skill worth learning? What else do you believe about this skill? Asking a multitude of questions, really being interrogative and really digging in, asking questions that help you get closer and closer to understanding the difference that makes the difference. What is it that they do in their mindset that you don't do in yours, which gives them the wondrous and magical ability to be able to do things? So again, you dig down further by asking about how they represent in their map of the world the things that they do. Making sure that as you're asking these questions, you show no judgment in your voice or your questions. Because if you show any form of judgment, then the person is less likely to want to share information with you. When you're doing modeling, you clean your own mind of assumptions about what is right and what is wrong, because you have no idea what is right or wrong in the context of being amazing at doing the thing. Whatever questions you ask, you need to be able to work out what's going on inside the mindset of somebody as they do whatever it is they do. And you need to be able to see the person in action if possible. If you can't see them in action, watch video after video or listen to recording after recording as you ask yourself questions in the mind and work out whatever it is you need to work out while you're modeling implicitly the behavior or the beliefs or the whatever the values of the person that is you're modeling. Behavioral modeling with neuro-linguistic programming. Now, if you're somebody who's interested in learning about this sort of stuff, get in touch. I love teaching this kind of thing. Teach you strategies, give you an opportunity to do something called a modeling project with my guidance. Help, I'll give you a framework with which to go out into the world after having identified what it is specifically you want to learn. What do you want to be better at specifically? You know? Look for the bare necessities as modeling behavior skills get these. Forget about your worries and your strife. Look for the bare necessities. Learning modeling will get you at ease. Oh yeah. Earlier on this year, I was modeling an accountant. It's lucky I modeled that accountant because I needed those skills later on after I modeled them. I've modeled the mindset of global supply chain directors at the company known as Coca-Cola, and how do they have a supply chain that spans the whole planet. And then after modeling that, I went and decided to, when I went to Philippines and I started making strategic business alliances over there, and then I found a way to tie that back to business that I do in the United Kingdom, and then I found a way to tie that to some drop shipping stuff that I do in Europe, and then I found a way to turn that all into a global supply chain, which I could manage easily all by myself with loads and loads of automations and stuff. It's so cool. And I did all that by modeling some guy, I completely forgot his name, but mainly by just modeling one guy who was the global supply chain manager for the Coca-Cola company. The Coca-Cola, they've got the best supply chain ideas in the world. Get their sugar from one part of the world and their water from another part of the world and the flavoring for another part of the world and the metal for the cans from another part of the world and different companies, and they bring it all together to make this brown sticky liquid, and then they sell that brown sticky liquid to countries all over the world and continents and territories all over the world, and then that's used and added to water at source. Fizzy water is used to add it at bottling companies which have got a license specifically for Coca-Cola. I spent a lot of time modeling this guy, modeling how he sees things, modeling his mindset, modeling how he sees the future, modeling how he sees the planet, modeling how he does all that sort of stuff. I spent a lot of time modeling rappers and singers and performers. I say performers and rappers and singers differently because I modeled Frank Sinatra by listening to a lot of his singing style, where he talks sometimes and sings sometimes and tells jokes while he's singing, and he tells jokes while he's talking, and I modeled that stuff, and then I incorporated that into modeling lots of Jamaican artists so that I could get good at being a reggae singer, modeling their attitudes towards singing, modeling the ways that they rhyme and sometimes how they don't rhyme, modeling their grisly way of doing things. Then here in the UK, modeling rappers, how rappers enter the building, how rappers carry themselves on stage, how rappers have certain beliefs in their head and how they do whatever they do, how they exit the stage, how rappers engage with the venue, the DJs, the lighting people, the sound engineer people, how they hold a microphone, how they behave differently when they're broadcasting live to social media versus how they do it live in a club versus how they do it on the radio station, modeling all the different attitudes so I could bring it together, so I could install that in myself so that I could get some of that goddamn excellence too. I must have did all right. I've been nominated for multiple awards in the United Kingdom for my skill of being very good at that. I remember being at a university studying psychology, and 4 years, 4 years I had to study for, and in that first year of psychology, I was terrified. I was failing. I guess if I look back now, I was suffering from all kinds of different types of anxiety. I had no idea what I was doing. I was really, really suffering with things like writing essays and understanding all these very complex ideas that they were sharing with me. So for most of the first year of my 4 year degree, I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing. I was already starting to form ideas of dropping out of university and just quitting. Until at one point, maybe about 8 months into the 12, maybe I said to myself, do you know what? Is that the story that I want to tell out in the future? Tell people I tried university, but then I quit in the first year, or I failed my exams because I didn't understand things. Is that the story I want to tell people? I wasn't clever enough to do this thing. And I said, no. And I went hardcore. Do you know what I did? I went and found a PhD student who was happy to tutor me, and I paid her for an hour and a half of her time, oh, crikey, twice a month to hang out with me. And I wanted to model her mindset around understanding how to do research and how to write research papers and how to read psychological academic papers, so on and so forth. And I got the opportunity to model her close up and ask her all of the questions. And I said, look, I'm paying you. I just want to be able to ask you questions that help me to fill in the gaps of the things that I don't know. And she was like, yep, cool. And within a very short space of time, I became very good at that. Then I started modeling the various different professors and lecturers and modeling the way that they spoke, modeling the way that they talked. Most of the stuff they were saying, I had no idea what they were saying sometimes, but it didn't matter. Even though I didn't understand some of the stuff that they were saying, I still allowed it to absorb into me and remembered the things that they said, even though I didn't know what some of this stuff meant. And then I went out, did lots of reading, and then I started looking at other ways as well, and I started learning some stuff from a guy called Richard Bandler about how these academics write papers and how I need to conceive certain things in my mind. And within a short space of time, my modeling project became the best student ever. I smashed it. For 4 years at my university, I was the president of all of the other psychology students. I got awarded by the head of the psychology department at my university an amount of money every month so that I could take other students out on trips and holidays. I got so boasty and boldy with my modeling skills, and the power got to my head, and then I started phoning and emailing academics and researchers at Yale and Harvard and Cambridge and Oxford University and saying, hey, my name is Darren Shaw. I'm the president of the Birkbeck University of London Society, and I'm contacting you because I read a paper of yours and I really would love to convey some of the information that you studied in your stuff and let people know more about your work. Is that all right with you? And people, these top researchers and whatnot, would email me back and say, yes, of course. And I'd ask to meet up with someone. It was like amazing. Again, I did all of this because I was able to do this stuff called behavioral modeling and bring it all together. I was able to leave university, and I can sit here right now and claim that I'm one of the top, if not the top. Okay, let me not go for the top, because there's one or two people that I'll say are definitely 100% better than me and are still alive. I'm one of the top thought leaders specifically in the areas of understanding cognitive and affective experimental psychopathology, specializing in the study of the mechanisms of anxiety and depression and how this works in the working memory model of Badley and Itch. Crikey. Behavioral modeling gives you the ability to become and do whatever it is you want to become and do. I'm just telling you bits and pieces of my story. If you want to become the top, the best at doing whatever it is you do, it can't hurt to master certain skills. Now, can it? This goes for if you want to model being more confident, model being more motivated in general, model being better around money, having a bit more of a money consciousness, if you like, being better with valuing yourself. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do it. I got bored a long time ago of finding new things to model. Actually, no, I say that, but as I said earlier on, I was actually teaching myself some skills around doing online animations and for some stuff, some video animations for some stuff that I want to do at a later point in time. And I've been learning by myself so far. But my next step at some point is probably to go on YouTube using my NLP modeling skills and find people on YouTube that have done all the same sorts of stuff that I have been trying to figure out. And then I'll be able to get into the mindsets of some of these people and be like, that's an interesting belief to have about when you're clicking that button. And I didn't know that you could do that thing with animals. Okay, that was a weird laugh, Darren. Don't ever do that again. You can be and do and have anything you want within reason. If you're trying to do certain things, but you have so much potential. Everybody does. Isn't that cool? Every single person has the potential to do way more than they think they can. And this is only limited by whatever it is you believe you can't do, or whatever it is you believe you can do. What I love about modeling skills is it's literally the process of how you go about tapping into that, tapping into all of your full potential. Why play a small game? Do you know how many people I know that are living their lives hiding because they've lost all their confidence, or they've been through certain trauma, or they've made a whole minefield of excuses that make it that they don't do any more than what they do now? I know so many people that are hiding in their shells and hiding inside their limitations, making sure that they don't succeed in life. Actually, the vast majority of people that I know, I don't want to succeed, I'm scared of failing, so I'm not even going to try. I don't want to succeed, I'm scared of succeeding, so I don't want to try. I don't want to succeed because I'm scared of what other people will think of me. So therefore, all of those people that want to make sure that I don't succeed in life, I'm going to make sure that they stay being right. I don't know about you, but none of that sounds really positive to me. Now, don't get it twisted. You could actually be living a life where you are surrounded by people that are very close to you who actively want to make sure that you don't do anything above your station. Don't do anything more than what you're doing now. That could be your children, that could be your loved ones, that could be your family, friends, could be the place that you work in. Depending on the environment that you're in, you might find that you are in an environment where people around you and in your life don't want you to do anything more than what you're doing now. They love making sure that you are the way you are now, and they love you as you are right now, and they don't want you to fly from the nest. They don't want you to. A lot of people don't want you to succeed just because it will make them feel bad, and it will make them feel like they're not good at achieving things because you did it. And again, I don't know about anyone else, but you know that old saying, life is short? I'd be so pissed off if I spent my whole entire life holding myself back to please other people. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but it's a very relevant thing, don't you think? And what about those of you that have got young people that look up to you as an adult? Auntie Joanna or Uncle Dan or Mummy Susie or whatever your role is in children's lives. Children, I don't know if you remember being a child yourself, but children look at adults and get all their inspiration from adults. Otherwise, the kids don't know what the hell to do. If they didn't get inspiration from adults, kids would just be playing with their Power Ranger toys for the rest of their life. Damn. Crikey. Am I reflecting from my own map of the world? Yeah, when I was younger, I just wanted to be a Power Ranger forever. I just wanted to play with Power Ranger toys like the Megazords and the... Hold on, Darren, where are you? Sorry, you're talking to the people. There are children in this world that need you to step up and step into the power and the potential that you have so that children can see that and think it's normal. Children need to see that achieving certain things is normal. Children need to see adults going through difficulties, figuring it out, modeling great behavior, and surviving and doing okay. Because that's how we give them hope. And again, one way to do this, just one way to do this, is getting good at behavioral modeling. If you want to learn more about this, get in touch with me. I've been saying when the Clubhouse and various different social media apps switched things up and made it that you got to do all these voice notes and all that stuff. I've been saying, oh, don't voice note me, don't call me. But you know what? If you need to voice note me, if you need to message me, if you need to send the message via carrier pigeon, maybe not that. That'd be weird. Carrier pigeons coming to my door. That would just be odd. And also, I'd have to tell you where I live. Hold up, Darren, where are you again? Get back to it. If you're interested in behavioral modeling, check out my website, www.thedarrenshaw.com. That's www.thedarrenshaw.com. Get onto my mailing list, find out a bit more about all the different things that I offer, so on and so forth. In the meantime, I hope I've provided value and usefulness here today. Take care of yourself and the people who you love, and model great behaviors for them all. Goodbye.